two categories of knitting. On the one hand, you have what is known as hand knitting, and then on the other hand, we have what is known as machine knitting. And each of these categories have two subcategories within them, which is weft and warp knitting. Machine knitting is essentially what it sounds like. It is when the knitted structure is made using a machine. And there's a variety of machines that we're going to go into in this episode that create these kinds of fabrics. And on the other hand, you have hand knitting, which is sort of an old grandma who is sitting down on her chair and she's knitting a fabric. Both of them actually use the same methodologies, but it is the machinery or the automation that's involved that separates machine knitting from hand knitting. But in each of these categories, you have what is known as weft knitting and warp knitting. Weft knitting and warp knitting have to do with the direction of the loops of the yarns. That is essentially what separates weft fabrics from warp knitted fabrics. It's the